Okay, we're gonna try this again, folks. Sorry. Now, I don't know what to apologize for you guys for. I started doing a video here. Sorry about LA Film Critics Society and just some words on the Critics' Choice nominations. And I was home only for a few minutes. I forgot that this laptop here was not plugged in. I got almost done with the video, which was about half an hour. And my computer died. So, and of course, did it save any of the footage because it's a simple doc cam? Of course not. So let's start over. So we're just talking in this video here about the Los Angeles Film Critics Awards, just a little wrap up on them. Won't take way too long on those. Just kind of mention what won, runner-up, and that's about it. And then we'll get into some words on the Critics' Choice nominations because we are less than 12 hours away from the announcements of the Golden Globes. And just to remind you guys, I will be live tomorrow with those reactions. I'll upload as soon as I get everything done with that. So yeah, it'll be fun to do the first live reactions of the season there. They're always fun to do. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about Los Angeles Film Critics Awards really quick here. I won't do any time codes or anything. We'll just literally spend like 3 or 4 minutes on this. I'll try to keep it brief. If you don't want to listen, just skip ahead. For Best Film, we did see Parasite do very well today with LA Film Critics. It won for film, won for director, and for supporting actor, was runner-up in screenplay, and also a runner-up in production design. So it did very well here. A lot of notices here for Parasite, which is, yeah, still my favorite film of the year. And Irishman did have runner-up positions for director, for picture, runner-up also for supporting actor. So this is actually the first of the National Award Review and of New York Film Critics Circle, this being like the third big kind of critics prize here. This is the first one the Irishman has not won anything at, which is a little surprising there, I guess, just given that everybody seems to be loving the movie really, really well with these critics groups so far. Okay, Best Actor went to Antonio Banderas. He picks up his big second win of the season. He also won at New York. And this also helps his candidacy, of course, going forward. But also being nominated at Critics' Choice today helps. He's likely to be nominated tomorrow at the Globes. And he could... I have him missing on Wednesday at the SAGs. He could still get in, but yeah, we'll have to see there. Runner-up was Adam Driver for Marriage Story. It's also worth noting here that Pain and Glory won for foreign language film. Marriage Story, on the other hand, only won one award outright, and that's for screenplay for Noah Baumbach. And that was about it for Marriage Story. You know, and I did, having seen the film now, yeah, it is kind of set both in New York and in LA, and then kind of crosses paths, you know, with the two cities throughout most of the film there. So I was kind of surprised it didn't do a little better here, like with supporting actress, say for Laura Dern. The screenplay prize, yeah, that was no surprise there. But I thought maybe it had a chance for like a runner-up for director if they didn't go with Scorsese, or yeah, if Bong, I think I had Bong Joon-ho out front to win for director, so I think I got that one right. But yeah, so yeah, Marriage Story didn't do as hot today as, and it hasn't really been like a big winner so far with any of the critics prizes there. Best Actress went to Mary Kay Place for Diane. She was nominated at the Gothams, and I think she's gotten a couple other notices through the season here. So yeah, her name has kind of been picked up for that, but she hasn't really gotten too much industry attention yet. Runner-up for Best Actress was Lupita Nyong'o for Us, which is another big note for her, winning the New York Film Critics Award for Best Actress. So she also landed a Critics' Choice nomination today, so she's definitely sticking around here. As we mentioned there, Irishman was runner-up for Supporting Actor. This is for Joe Pesci. Supporting Actress winner was Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers. And that was, yeah, the big notoriety that Hustlers got, her first big prize of the year there. Runner-up being Zhao Shuzhen for The Farewell. Also worth noting here, the supporting actor who won for Parasite was Song Kang-ho, who I really liked that performance. So I'm glad to see him recognized. Let's see, we talked about screenplay there. Cinematography went to Claire Mithon, who is the cinematographer for both Atlantics and Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And Portrait of a Lady on Fire was also runner-up for foreign language film. Both these and Pain and Glory and Parasite, all 4 of the 5 nominees here for at the Critics' Choice today. We'll talk about more about that one later. So Roger Deakins has to settle for this runner-up prize for cinematography for 1917. Yeah, I think he'll probably sweep the rest of these going forward here, especially when we turn to industry stuff. Editing went to the documentary Apollo 11. They sometimes do go for documentaries here in the editing category. Good to see that one recognized. Uncut Gems was the runner-up here, which is a little surprising. Production design went to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and this is the only real prize that Hollywood scored here, or was the runner-up for LA, which is a little surprising since it has Hollywood in the title. But they don't always go for the obvious ones about films, and stuff. So that's worth noting there. Original score went to I Lost My Body. Sorry, not Buddy. That'd be a probably sadder film. It also won for Best Animated Film. Thomas Newman's score for 1917 was the runner-up there. We mentioned with foreign language. Documentary feature was American Factory, won that one with Apollo 11 being the runner-up. The runner-up for Best Animated Film was Toy Story 4. So nothing really too head-scratching here. You could say, I Lost My Body for score was a bit of a surprise. The editing prize going to a documentary sometimes happens, but we didn't, outright know that. Cinematography, they do sometimes go with foreign language films. That's true. I think they did last year, didn't they? I can look it up here really quick. No, they went with Roma last year. That's right. What was it they went with? Recently, they went with somebody. It wasn't 2017. That was Shape of Water. We'll be here forever. Yeah, we'll just I've seen it somewhere before. It might have been maybe some New York stuff too. It does go for the foreign taste sometimes there for its cinematography too. But big day for Parasite with LA film critics. Irishman getting a few runner-ups prizes is good notes for them, of course, but they've been pretty strong through the critics prizes so far. I think the Atlanta film critics also went with Parasite, so that's their second win of the year for best film and stuff. I think they also won for director at both. So, they are off to a good start there. Okay, so moving on now to the Critics' Choice Awards. The 25th Critics' Choice nominations here are out, and I'm just about done with this show, in all honesty. I'm getting fed up with this. Now, and this could be very simply explained here, but how do these nominations work? I've been confused on these for the last couple of years here. Now, it's a solid 10 for picture. That has not broken. But explain to me why we have 7 directors nominated, 7 lead actors, 7 lead actresses, only 6 supporting actors, only 6 supporting actresses, 7 ensembles, 6 adapted screenplays, but only 5 original screenplays, and then a mix of 5, 6, or 7 nominations across the rest of the tech categories here. It's bullshit. Somebody explain to me, do they start at 5 and then just go from there with how many ever ties they have? Because that sounds a little more simple to me, but still, be a little more consistent, guys. Come on. I mean, last year, I believe we had 7 nominated directors. Yep, I'm checking that out right now, yeah. And 7 lead and 7 for the lead categories there. But we also had, if I'm counting this right, which I'm not, okay, 6 in the supporting, too. And then we had 7 nominated original screenplays last year, but only 6 adapted screenplays. So I guess that's how it works, but still, that just makes everything a lot harder here when you're trying to actually get to the bottom of the predictions here and get them exactly right. It just doesn't make any sense. Unless that's the rule, which if it is a rule, I mean, that's, I don't know. I guess the Emmys have that rule too, but, it just makes it really hard to try to predict these very well. Especially when they have less than 6, which is pretty much everywhere I've seen. It's like everybody else has been predicting at least 6 for every category here, but yeah. Anyways, that's my little rant. In the meantime, here we can talk about, we'll start with the films with multiple nominations. Of course, as you've probably read by now, The Irishman led all films with 14 nominations. Big day for The Irishman here, scoring nominations in picture, director, actor. 2 performances nominated in supporting actor. Both Pacino and Pesci got in. It's also in for its ensemble, for its adapted screenplay, cinematography, production design, editing, costume design. It's in for hair and makeup. It's in for visual effects. It's in for score. So, yeah, just about everything it could land, it got a nomination here for. So that's, obviously job well done to Scorsese and Netflix and their team there. Netflix also did well with Marriage Story. We'll talk about those nominations after a bit here. I thought I read the number being 61 nominations total across film and television, which is a huge number for Netflix. I think they're definitely with the Oscars and stuff, they're definitely going to have more nominations than probably anybody else. Because, I mean, Sony is looking pretty good. Well, that's all Sony categories because they have Little Women, they have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they have in the smaller departments there Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and they also have Pain and Glory with the Sony Pictures Classic side. So they've got a chance to come close to matching that number of Netflix. But I think Netflix will probably lead them all. Plus, it has Two Popes and Dolomite Is My Name, also getting potentially multiple nominations for both films there. And actually, yeah, both those films got multiple nominations here today, too, so that's worth noting there. Speaking of Sony and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was in second place with 11 nominations. By the way, when I say these, I'm only counting the acting categories, picture, director. I'll count the ensemble category, the screenplay categories, the tech categories, but I'm not counting the stupid fucking best action movie, best comedy, best actor in a comedy, best actor in an action movie. That's all horseshit. And it doesn't have any relevance to the rest of the season. It's there just to recognize certain films from a certain category, and half of them don't even get televised, and if they do, they take up the space of stuff that should be televised, like screenplay, which always pisses me off. Again, more stuff to talk about there. I also mentioned if any films received nominations outside of just animated feature, song, score, and foreign language as well. So yeah, we'll count those as well here. So anyways, going back to Hollywood here, it scored picture, director, actor, supporting actor, original screenplay, ensemble, also in for its cinematography, production design, and editing. It's also in for costumes. It's in for hair and makeup, which I don't see that getting nominated at the Oscars, but... and that would be it for that one there. So, yeah, obviously I think this film, I was a little weary of it early on in the season. I had a thought that it might kind of peter out as we got closer to it, especially if we had more films, which we've had a lot of these kind of festival circuit films really take off and really been not only great films, but really well respected so far by critics groups, and they seem to be big on the Oscar race and everything. I know early on there were some people that were thinking if we had a kind of disappointing season with the Oscar, kind of awards circuit there, we could see Rocket Man do better than expected. Maybe Avengers Endgame ends up with a few more nods than expected, and so on and so forth. But I think we'll be pretty set here with a lot of these. Not Marriage Story. Little Women scored the most nominations next with 9. Big day for Little Women. I thought it would do good, but it did very well today. Nominations for picture, for director, for actress, supporting actress for Florence Pugh. In for its ensemble. It's in for adapted screenplay. In for its production design and its costume design. And it's also in for its score. So it did very well here today. We knew Greta Gerwig was close for that director category, so that's not a gigantic whoa surprise, but I definitely thought she would be like, if it did go to 7, she would probably be the first one I would pick for that, to get that slot. Marriage Story was up next with 8 nominations. So that's picture, director, actor, actress, supporting actress. You'll mention, it didn't get Alan Alda in, but I knew that was kind of close there too. It's in for its ensemble, it's in for original screenplay, and then basically the only tech category it got was original score for Randy Newman. So yeah, that still did pretty good today, I would say. Yeah. After that, it kind of drops off a bit. We got the 7 nominated films. That's right. 3 films that received 7 nominations. First one, 1917, which got picture and director. It is also in for cinematography, production design, film editing, and also in for its visual effects and for scores. So that's still a really good showing here for 1917. Let's see here. I did get that right, didn't I? Yeah, 7 nominations. So, I think film editing is still, I'm not sure about that one, because again, we think of Roma, we think of Birdman, a couple of those more one-shot style or long-take films, They miss out on editing sometimes. I think 1917 also has a shot of doing that. Let's see here. Yeah, otherwise not too many big surprises for that one there. Joker landed very big with critics critics society here, which is, I don't know. I mean, I'll talk about this in a second here with Jojo Rabbit, which I don't know. That one really did not do well today. That one kind of bombed out. So Joker got in for picture. It's in for lead actor, of course, for Joaquin Phoenix. No surprise there. It is in for adapted screenplay, which I personally, I don't know. It's also in for cinematography, which it's close in that category. Production design, I don't necessarily think that's some of the best production design work of the year, so I don't necessarily agree with that nomination there. Also in for hair and makeup, which it'll probably get nominated at the Oscars, and also for score, which is, that's pretty much a lock to get nominated there. So yeah, those of you who are hoping for Todd Phillips for director, if he doesn't get in with 7 nominations, that hurts. Well, Taika Waititi also missed out for director there, who was in my nominations there. That also doesn't help. So if he doesn't get a big turnaround here at the Globes, especially if he misses DGA, then I feel like that's going to be done. Let's see here. And then Parasite was also up for 7 nominations. So that also had a big day here with Best Picture, Director, I didn't quite get Sang Kang-ho, or Sang Kang-ho? Sorry, am I missing his name again? Song Kang-ho, that's right. Song Kang-ho. I always think of that wrong there. Song Kang-ho did not get in for supporting actor. He was close for me. I didn't put him in or anything, but those 2 nominations. Then it's in for its ensemble, which is really nice to see. I do like that ensemble work there. It's in for original screenplay. It's also in for its production design, which again, it's good in the movie. I don't think it's necessarily one of the best of the year. It's in for film editing, which is nice to see, and also in, of course, for foreign language film, where it'll likely dominate that category through the season here. So yeah, that's a big showing for Parasite there as well. So yeah, those were basically the 7 films there that really, really took off and really did well here today. And of course, it helps that you have 5, 6, 7, up to 7 nominations in each category, which only makes us question things more for who's going to get in where and stuff. Okay, going on now. 4 nominations each for 3 films. Ford v Ferrari, the first one we'll talk about here. It's in for picture. Then its next nomination was cleared down in cinematography. It's also in for its editing and also for visual effects. So it got a few good notices there. I'd say nothing really like too big there that I was like, oh, I had it down for this or anything. No, I knew it wasn't going to have like the most nominations ever here. It'll help. I think at the Oscars they can get potentially those 4 plus the sound categories. That's possible. But I don't see it necessarily being an 8 or 9 nomination film at the end of the day there. Let's see, another film with 4 nominations had a big day today, and that is Uncut Gems, which is really not slowing down from its big critical surge here lately. Nominated for film, for director, really surprising there. Adam Sandler made the cut with 7 nominations there for lead actor, and it's also in for its editing, which is really, we saw that runner-up there at LA today, so that is starting to look like a dark horse that could come true there for that editing category. That's, wow, good for them. Let's see, then Bombshell also has 4 nominations. This is the first one I'll talk about that is not in for Best Film here. So that's in for Actress, Supporting Actress, for Charlize Theron and for Margot Robbie, respectively. Also in for its ensemble and also in for hair and makeup. I still think I still have it in for Best Picture. I mean, we'll see if it doesn't land a drama nomination tomorrow at the Globes, and that could easily, I can kind of change that around, I think, from there. We'll see how it does at SAG too and stuff. I think it only gets the 2 actresses in at SAG, but it could break in for ensemble too. You never know. So that's the 4 nominations there. 3 nominations each. We have Jojo Rabbit, we have Dolomite Is My Name, The Farewell, and Rocket Man all getting 3. So we'll talk about those here. Now Jojo is the first one here. This is the last of the Best Film nominees here. Jojo really did not do well today. It's in for Picture, Supporting Actress for Scarlett Johansson, who we knew, again, was close, and also is in for its Adapted Screenplay, but nothing for Taika Waititi, for Director at least. Not a lot, no love whatsoever in the tech categories like Production Design, nothing for its Ensemble. I have it in for Editing, personally, at the Oscars, because it's just, especially when you watch it at the beginning, there's so many quick cuts toward the beginning there. Sometimes that, the editors just see that right away and they're like, oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, lots of cuts and stuff. And it's not always that, but I don't know, nothing for its costumes either. With 6 nominees there, it couldn't get in. So that's not good. I mean, I guess it is up for Best Comedy, but that's, who gives a horse's ass about that going forward? I mean, it's just going to be 1 nomination in this one category at this one award show, and it's like nobody really cares. Which is really weird, because we saw, you could argue 3 films this year, in this list of best films. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joker, and Jojo Rabbit are kind of mixed-ish with critics, or, well, Joker I would say is closer to an actual, mixed reception movie, because its tomato score is, in the 65-67% range, so it's enough to not be certified fresh, whereas Jojo Rabbit and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are in the low 80s for Jojo, I believe, and mid-80s for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which shows not quite universal acclaim. The rest of these, I believe, are 90% plus on Rotten Tomatoes as of right now. Maybe 1917 dipped a little bit below that, but for the most part, most critics love it so far. So it makes no sense to me, because, I thought Joker would really kind of have a harder time here since it is more critically reviled. But then again, you look at it last year, it's like Vice was right around that same Rotten Tomato range, and that got a lot of nominations here last year. What did that get? Shit. That got Picture, that got Director, that got Actor. nominated for supporting actress. It was in for original screenplay. It was, let's see, those 5. It was in for its editing. It was one for makeup and hairstyling. And then also, I believe, yeah, those 7. Yeah, those 7 major categories, but it was also a contender in like the actor in a comedy category and shit like that. Again, I could give horse's ass about that, but anyways, so I mean, it's not like it's rare for this to happen. It's like it can happen occasionally, but I just thought in this case, Joker, yeah, it had a chance. I mean, I put it in as a possibility for Best Picture. I put it in as a possibility for Adapted Screenplay. You know, I think in the tech categories, it's definitely faring a lot better chances than in those top categories. Like, it could sneak in there and get nominated for its cinematography. Production design, I'm less weary on. No, I don't think that'll happen. Makeup and hairstyling and also score, those 2 feel like locks to me at the Oscars, along with Joaquin. It's like those 3 for sure for Joker. After that, it's a 50-50 kind of coin flip question there, just based on the Academy's mood and how much they really go for it, or if they shy away from it, or, you know, how it hits them and stuff. So I don't know. But if it hit with critics with 7 nominations, that's a pretty solid sign going forward. We'll see if it can get in for drama film tomorrow at the Globes. Personally, I think it feels a lot more like an actor drama and that's it category, except, well, and score, it'll probably get in there. That's true. So maybe a couple nominations, but I don't know. I just don't get that feeling. I could be dead wrong. I mean, I'm fully, ready to admit when I'm wrong, but I could be dead wrong about this. But I just have a feeling the Globes, that's just not a Globes movie, personally. I just don't think they'll go for it. Anyway, so yeah, it makes no sense. Like that did, obviously Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that one, early on, like I said, I had some quips about it. I was kind of questioning how well it would do, but it's clearly doing well now. It's kind of weird. That one's here, and I like it the least of these 3. Joker is here for me, and then JoJo's way up here, and yet JoJo's the one that gets punished hard, big time by the critics here. I don't know. I think the Globes will go for it tomorrow with some big nominations. I think it'll go over well with the certain industry awards. SAG, I think will get a couple nominations at least. I have it in for ensemble. So actually, yeah, just that one. Scarlett Johansson could get in there for supporting actress. She got in today, so that's possible. I have her in tomorrow at the Globes. And then I think DGA has a shot. It's not a guarantee, but then again, somebody like Jay Roach could really benefit there. Clint Eastwood could really benefit there. A couple other guys who missed out today. Maybe somebody like Lulu Wang for The Farewell, another film that didn't do so hot today. Missed out on the best film category and stuff. Which, yeah, that one, it's like a 99 or 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't quite gotten to see that one yet, but I mean, just about everybody loves that movie. So how it didn't make the list and something like Joker did, which was more critically mixed, I don't know. That's a bit of a question mark to me. But yeah, I still love JoJo a lot. It's my still my second favorite film of the year. So yeah, I do like that one quite a bit. Anyway, so let's see. The other films that got 3 nominations, we were kind of starting there. The Farewell is one of those that got Best Actress for Awkwafina, Supporting Actress for Zhao Shuzhen, and it is in for Original Screenplay, which is really weird because that's one place that Uncut Gems didn't get in. That's the one place I said it would get in, and alas, it gets everything else that I, was kind of questioning a bit. Like I had it as a possibility. I believe when I talked about it last time, I put Uncut Gems in there as a possible, kind of dark horse to get in there. But yeah, it's it landed there. It landed with Adam Sandler. It landed with its editing, and yet and with director too. Big surprise there. But it can't get original screenplay. And again, there's only 5 fucking nominees here. That makes no goddamn sense. You stupid assholes. I don't know. I'm getting a little upset now, but just because I do like the evenness of like the rest of the award ceremonies for the most part. Now, an occasional tie at the Golden Globes doesn't piss me off so much, but here, when it's like, oh yeah, we'll give 6 nominees here. That one gets 7. That one only gets 5. Now it just feels so careless. Just pick something, Christ's sakes. And again, I get if that's the rule, if it's ties and stuff, that's fine. But it just really just looks like they're rubbing salt in the wound for stuff like that when they only have we only like 5 in this category. It's like, oh, come on. There had to have been more love for Uncut Gems than that. Come on, you got to be joking me. If it did so well in the other categories, how it's missing here is a bit of a surprise. Anyway, so so The Farewell does get in for original screenplay though, which I have that getting in at the Oscars. Let's see here. Then we talked about Rocket Man has 3, and those are all in the tech categories there with original song. It's in there for its costume design and also in for its makeup and hairstyling, which is one, costume design I think is a pretty good lock there for the Oscars. Very flashy, in-your-face costumes. And the song category, that could also be very possible there. One I didn't think of so much, and that's makeup and hairstyling, which makes total sense. And that's like, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of, personal work on Egerton with Elton John's character, and also, you think about it, Bryce Dallas Howard has a lot of prosthetics in her final scenes toward the third act of the film, too. So that's one that kind of flew under my radar, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. As soon as I saw it nominated here today, I'm like, oh, yeah, that can totally happen. Okay, we missed any with 3. Dolomite. Yep, Dolomite. We'll talk about that one. Is in for Best Actor for Eddie Murphy. If he had missed here today, that would have really hurt him. It's also in for not ensemble, sorry, but in for costume design and also in for hair and makeup. Again, another one that, kind of you don't think about it at first, and then it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense that it's nominated there. I don't necessarily think that one does get in at the Oscars, though. I think if I had to go with 5 today, it's probably Bombshell, The Irishman, Joker, Rocket Man, and shit, I don't know. Man, I don't know from there. JoJo has some makeup work in it, maybe. I don't know, 1917 maybe? I don't know, how much makeup does 1917 have in it? I don't know if anybody's seen it here or not, but I don't know, that's a possibility, I guess. I just don't, there's not a ton of, like, makeup work in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that makes me say, oh, that'll definitely get in. At least not right now, but we'll see how the category shakes out and everything. Let's see here. I feel like there's one I'm missing that I haven't talked about, but now... Oh, yeah, Captain Marvel. Yeah, Captain Marvel, I would say. That one gets a slot, too. Yeah, I like the scroll makeup and stuff. I think that'll get it. So there's your 5th one. There we go. Okay, let's see here. So that's all the ones with 3 nominees, I believe. I'll just kind of look. Sorry, I wrote this up a little bit here. Yep, that's all the one with 3. So there was tons with 2 nominations. Pain and Glory got 2, Harriet got 2, Us got 2, Judy got 2, Lighthouse got 2, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Two Popes, Knives Out, Downton Abbey, Frozen 2, and The Lion King all got 2 nominations. So we'll just really quickly go through those. Let's see, we've got Antonio Banderas got in for Best Actor, and it's also in for Foreign Language Film. Harriet got the 2 nods for Best Actress, again with 7 nominees there she got in, and also for its song, that could also happen at the Globes tomorrow, that's very possible. The Lighthouse got in for Supporting Actor and for its cinematography. I can see those 2 going forward at the Oscars. Same with Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood for Tom Hanks and for its screenplay. In the adapted category, those 2 I can see going forward. Two Popes did get in for Anthony Hopkins, did not get in for Jonathan Pryce. Again, 7 nominees and he's not there, really hurts him. And it's also for adapted screenplay there. It kind of reminds me, this one, Jonathan Pryce, a bit with Steve Carell a few years ago for Foxcatcher. There were 6 nominees that year for Best Actor. He wasn't one of them, but he got nominated everywhere else. He got supporting for Foxcatcher at BAFTA, but he got in everywhere else for lead actor, and he ended up at the Oscars there over somebody like Jake Gyllenhaal and stuff. That was a pretty competitive year that year, of course. So it's not game over for Jonathan Pryce just because he doesn't get in here with 7 nominees, but that hurts. If he doesn't get in tomorrow over somebody like Adam Sandler, over somebody like, I could potentially see Banderas missing tomorrow at the Globes if they don't go for it. De Niro has been getting in everywhere. Adam Driver is a pretty much sure bet. Joaquin Phoenix is a sure bet tomorrow. So, especially with Sandler here, getting in for that 7th slot, it's like, again, there's only 5 slots at the Oscars, but man, that really just kind of gets me a little bit like, he can do it now. It just feels that much more possible now that we've seen him get in here. If they had stuck with 6 and it had been Eddie Murphy, Phoenix, Driver, DiCaprio, De Niro, Banderas, then I think that changes the narrative a little bit. But now that he's gotten in, even with 7 nominees, it's like, I don't know, if he gets in tomorrow, that really helps. And if he gets in at SAG, then he's pretty much set from there. The only thing that would happen is if the Oscars really don't like Uncut Gems, and it just totally kind of pulls an I, Tonya from a few years ago, where I, Tonya kept building steam through the year, or through the season, rather. And it's like, at first it's like, oh yeah, that might get in for like Margot Robbie, potentially. I mean, I think the word out of TIFF when it premiered was, what's her name? Allison Janney, which was like, everybody's like, oh yeah, she'll be nominated. I think, who was Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird was kind of the early front runner there. But then I was like, I don't know, I like Jani's chances at the Globes, and then she won there, and then I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I put Metcalf ahead for the Critics' Choice, then Jani won again there, then I'm like, well, I like Jani at the SAGs, and she won there, and then it's like, yeah, then it really took off. But then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, yeah, it's definitely in then for actress. And I'm like, I like the editing, so that I picked that, and that actually did happen. And it was only those three. But then I was like, picture, I put it in for screenplay, and I think I put it in for makeup too, or something. I had it 5 or 6 nominees, or maybe it was costume design, something like that. But I was like, I went all in for I, Tonya, and then Academy just didn't respond as well to it. So that can be the case with Uncut Gems. It is another kind of, it's A24 who has a few other stokes in the fire here. It is from the Safdie brothers. Good Time did not do very well. It did okay with some of the critics' prizes. I did have a big bet that year on Robert Pattinson to be nominated at the Globes. That didn't happen. So, there's not a lot of history with these guys in the Oscars. And Sandler, of course, as we know, a couple times has been kind of in the mix there for some nominations for like Punch Drunk Love. You could argue for Meyerowitz Stories a couple years ago. He's yet to receive that first nomination. So, this could be the one to do it. But I need to see more evidence of it, and I think even if he does get Critics' Choice, Globe, and SAG, who else got those and missed out at the Oscars? Who also got nominated BAFTA a few years ago? How about Nightcrawler, Jake Gyllenhaal? Again, kind of darker subject matter, less known director. That ended up getting nominated for its screenplay, which was really great to see nominated, but nothing else. So that might be the fate this year for Uncut Gems. That could play out, or there's a lot of different scenarios for that film, but we'll see what other tricks A24 has up their sleeve. But so far, doing well at the critics' prizes too only spells out good stuff, I think, going forward. All right, let's see, what else can we talk about here? The 2 nominees. Yeah, we were into that before I went off on that little sidetrack there. Knives Out got a couple nods for its ensemble and also for its original screenplay. I did put it in for original screenplay a week ago, so that one I could sense coming, but the ensemble's good work there, so I knew that one was close. Let's see here. We mentioned Lighthouse. I feel like I'm missing some here. We'll get down to the tech category. I think that's where the rest of these are. Downton Abbey got the 2 design categories here today, production and costume. That I can totally see that happening at the Oscars, kind of like Great Gatsby and a few of those other period pieces that aren't necessarily big, hyped-up Best Picture hopefuls there. Let's see, for the makeup category, that's Judy also is another one here. Got nominated for Best Actress for Renee Zellweger, of course, but also in for makeup and hairstyling. Again, I don't see that one going all the way for that category. Visual effects, we'll talk about a couple of those because Lion King is nominated there, and it's also up for original song for Spirit from Beyonce there. Frozen 2 got in for animated feature and also for Into the Unknown from song. Let's see, what was the other one? I thought there was another one that was animated, but now I've lost track there. Yeah. Let's see, we mentioned, did we mention Harriet yet with Cynthia Erivo on the song? Yeah, we did. Okay. Once again, sorry, I shot almost all of this up to this point earlier here tonight, and it didn't save, so I'm sorry if I question whether or not I've said something or not. It's like I have technically said everything more than once, but you guys didn't, were none the wiser. So anyways, yeah, I feel like that's probably about all I've got to say, except for fuck you, Critics' Choice, for really being these uneven number of nominees in the categories. Even if that's your rule with the ties and stuff, it's like, it just looks really, really dumb if you have 6 nominees, 7, 5. For one of the most competitive categories this year, you go 5. That's bullshit. Anyway, so yeah, we'll talk about a couple other things that missed here. Of course, the big 2 for Best Film are The Farewell and Bombshell. The Farewell, I'm not so sure what happened there. Again, very highly critically rated film. It's gotten a few notices here and there, or some runner-ups prizes at some of the critics' prizes. So critics definitely have it on their radar. It did get 3 nominations. If it was totally missing, that'd be a different story. But yeah, that one, that's too bad for those. Yeah, Bombshell, I know that one is on my 9-10 list now for picture. It's down there. So if it doesn't do well tomorrow at the Globes, then that that kind of doesn't spell good things going forward. It might be a 3 nominee film at the Oscars for the 2 acting and for its makeup, maybe, but we'll see. Director, we mentioned, the big one that missed there for me was Taika Waititi. The other 5 I got, and then the 2 other ones with Gerwig and with the Safdie brothers. So again, that doesn't spell good stuff for Taika Waititi in this category, but regardless, he's going to be nominated for screenplay, so that's nothing, nothing too bad. It's not like he'll miss out entirely for it, because he did craft one of the best films of the year, in my opinion. For the ensemble category, Dolomite missed, JoJo missed, and The Farewell missed, in favor of stuff like Little Women, Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Knives Out, Bombshell. So I had those other 5, at least in my kind of runner-ups category here. I'm just looking off my Culture Vulture article. So it wasn't like none of those were like totally out of left field. Like if Uncut Gems had gotten in for ensemble, that would have been weird, but yeah. Let's see, we got the 6 there for actor there, plus Adam Sandler. The 6 again, plus 1 for Cynthia Erivo for actress there. We'll just talk about a couple other things here, for some other directors and stuff that got hurt there. With the ensemble category, Ford v. Ferrari, I don't see that necessarily making a big comeback at SAG or something. I think it might get in for its stunts. That could be very possible. 1917, same deal there. Waves not getting in for ensemble. That was another kind of more critically loved film, but that got nothing today. Let's see, Hustlers only got the 1 nomination for supporting actress for Jennifer Lopez. We'll get to, Annette Bening missing out too is not a good sign for her. Anyways, so, Hustlers also didn't get in for its adapted screenplay. Let's see here, for Best Actor, we talked about Jonathan Pryce. That's not good for him. We'll see if he bounces back tomorrow at Globes. It's possible. Taron Egerton for Rocket Man, also that feels more or less done. Christian Bale, if he gets in tomorrow, that'll help him out. If not, then that might be done. Alfre Woodard missing out for Best Actress for Clemency. That's not a good look either. That, again, I'm just a little worried with Neon, again, focusing a lot of their attention on Parasite, and also it just depends on how well the film is seen overall in the Academy, especially with the acting branch there. Let's see, Song Kang-ho winning the Critics Group's prize today at LA for supporting actor. That helps him a lot. And it is only 6 nominees here for this category, so that's not the end of the world there. Sterling K. Brown, again, Waves. It just wasn't on their list there. And then Jamie Foxx also for Just Mercy. I don't really sense too much buzz behind that movie anymore. So it mentioned here Annette Bening missing out for The Report. I did have Florence Pugh in, that's right. Okay, I thought I said I didn't have her in. Okay, I had her in, but Annette Bening I did have in, though. Scarlett Johansson took her spot for Jojo Rabbit there, but... I know Davine Joy Randolph was kind of a long shot. Maggie Smith, Downton Abbey was on their radar for the design categories, but not necessarily for supporting actress. So that hurts Annette Bening, and definitely with her film, The Report, kind of being, now looking at a 1 nomination film, it's like, again, it reminds me of Beautiful Boy, Drive, a couple of those other ones where it's like you're looking at 1 acting nomination. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Nightcrawler, you could argue that, but it did end up with a nomination in screenplay, so... let's see, the original category, original screenplay, I should say, the Farewell missing, or Uncut Gems, rather, missing there was a big, okay, I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't, obviously with only 5 nominees, that really, kind of puts stuff like Pain and Glory, Bombshell, Dolomite, Ford v. Ferrari, Booksmart, a few of those, that kind of doesn't help those much. And then adapted screenplay, Joker getting in, over Hustlers there, that's probably a closer sign for what the Oscar race is shaping up for. It's just from there, which 5 do we go with? Do we include Joker and kick out 2 Popes? Do we include Joker and kick out Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood? Do we include both those 2 and Joker and kick out something else? And go really crazy with Little Women, Irishman, and Jojo Rabbit, which feel like the 3 locks to me here if one of them miss. But, then no love for Richard Jewell today or Dark Waters or anything. But again, especially those 2, they were kind of late hitters. They didn't really ride the awards circuit too well, with the exception of AFI Fest. I think they were both there. At least one of them was for Richard Jewell. But I feel like that should cover it for today. We've been on long enough here. We're what are we at here? 10 and a half hours before we get to the Golden Globe nominations. Again, I'll be here live with live reactions. It'll be always fun to do those. Really fun to be. It'll be up early. I'll probably have bedhead and everything, but that'll be fine. You guys will get a kick out of that, I'm sure. But we'll see what happens tomorrow at the Golden Globes.